Against all odds, there is optimism in Colorado's firefights tonight. We got through the hottest part of this day without a new fire starting. The most threatening fire in our state is being attacked from all angles, and folks are returning home near 2 other fires. Though we know Colorado is not in the clear, and getting more help, like getting our firefighters who are out helping other states to come home, that won't be easy.
When resources are sent out, it's very difficult for us to then pull them back.
Next, viewers are asking smart questions about why so many very dry counties don't have fire restrictions right now.
We asked that if you can refrain, that would be fabulous.
And Colorado's best-known election denier is feeling the heat in court. All that tonight on Next, live from the quarry fire in Jefferson County. It appears that the quarry fire is back on its heels tonight after 2 days of relentless air attacks and a doubling in the number of firefighters assigned to this firefight in Jefferson County, southwest of C-470 and Kipling. It is a tremendous focus on one fire, actually the smallest of the 3 big wildfires on Colorado's Front Range. But this is the fire that is in the position to do the most damage, should firefighters not be able to hold the line behind me at Deer Creek Canyon Road, because if this fire jumps the canyon and comes north, it's into this neighborhood where we're standing, and there are hundreds of homes ahead. As we stand right now, firefighters have offered varying assessments of the size of this fire, 3 to 450 acres on the upper side. This is a live look at where it stands tonight. You can tell a complete difference from the place we were this time last night, when there was crowning on 2 sides of this fire and a tremendous amount of smoke. Now, they have not yet released a detailed map of where has burned in the quarry fire. We've seen that on the other 2 fires we're tracking in Colorado. We saw less active fire behavior throughout the afternoon. Around 2 o'clock today, the sheriff's office said the closest flames have been about a quarter mile from homes. So that's still not the distance where firefighters are doing active structure protection, but they are moving fuels away from homes in case the fires move in that direction. And obviously, it pales in comparison to the situation they could be in if the fire moves north.
Boots on the ground are going to win this fight. Air is critical part of us winning this fight, but you can't put this fire out just by water and retardant. It's going to be boots on the ground. That's why we're excited about 155 firefighters.
That Army on the ground now includes 20 San Juan hotshots, wildfire specialists. They came in overnight. But the vast majority of the firefighters out there working in 95-degree temperatures and steep, rocky terrain, those folks are volunteers. There are nearly 600 homes in this area that are under an evacuation order. The sheriff's office says there is plenty of room in shelters if people need that. They're talking about this potentially being a days-long or even weeks-long effort to get a handle on the quarry fire. Trying to get more resources into Colorado, our resources, is a difficult proposition. There are about 300 firefighters from Colorado that are in other western states helping out with bad fires there. Our Evan Krugel is here to explain why fire chiefs in Colorado are not necessarily keen to bring their people here.
Yeah, Kyle, some comments from Public Safety Director Stan Hilke were met with frustration today from firefighters I spoke with, saying bringing those crews back too early could set a dangerous precedent if we need help from other states in the future. As multiple fires burn along the Front Range, dozens of Colorado firefighters are out of state, helping with fires across the nation, and leading to this request from Public Safety Director Stan Hilke.
I call upon the chiefs of the fire departments in our state to think about bringing those assets back when it's most soon practical for them, because the state of Colorado needs those resources here as well.
For them to say that local fire chiefs bring back your firefighters to be here, that's pretty tough.
West Metro Fire Rescue Chief Don Lombardi says his agency has 9 firefighters deployed in Nevada, Wyoming, and Oregon. Deployments that provide hands-on experience, money for his department, and assurance he'll get help from other states if he ever needs it.
When resources are sent out, it's very difficult for us to then pull them back. The expectation is that we're there for that entire time that they need us, and typically it's a 2-week time.
He says pulling back crews early would send a poor message.
They wouldn't use us in the future, and then when we needed them, they'd say, you know what, we're not gonna we're not going to be able to come out and help you folks out, since you, in essence, left us high and dry.
Chief Lombardi says he has no plans to pull back his firefighters, but says he may consider stopping additional deployments if more help is needed when they return. Now, we did reach out to Director Hilke for clarification on those comments today. He said he was simply saying he's asking those chiefs to bring back those crews when they have the opportunity to do so and when it's practical to do so. Meanwhile, we did reach out to 4 large agencies, South Metro, West Metro, Denver, and Aurora. Between those 4, they currently have 54 firefighters in other states. All 4 departments tell me they have no plans to bring back any of those firefighters early. Kyle?
It's difficult, but it's understandable, right? If we become the state that's known, or the fire agencies that are known for reneging on those agreements, that could come back in a bad way. Evan Krugel, thank you for your reporting today. We learned this afternoon that 24 buildings, including some homes, were lost in Colorado's largest wildfire, the Alexander Mountain Fire, west of Loveland in Larimer County. That continued to grow today. It's more than 8,000 acres, no containment. The homes that were lost were in Drake. That's a small community along Highway 34, west of Loveland and east of Estes Park. Damage assessment teams will be able to go in tomorrow to get an exact count on houses. Right now, firefighters are focused on keeping that fire north of 34 and the Big Thompson River and protecting the above-ground fiber optic cable that runs along it, because that provides 911 services and phone services to Estes Park. Larimer County and Loveland have both issued local disaster declarations. That gives them the ability to tap into some state and federal resources and eventually recovery funds. In Boulder County, crews are still working 2 fires. The more serious, the Stone Canyon fire, that's the one north of Lyons that's burned more than 1,500 acres. It's held at 20% containment since last night. The Steamboat Valley neighborhood and the Stone Canyon neighborhood were given the all clear to go home this afternoon. That fire continues to move northeast, so away from Lyons and out into open country. It's the only fire of the big 3 to take a life. 1 person was found dead in a home that burned there. The small lakeshore fire that broke out yesterday afternoon near Gross Reservoir is now fully contained. The evacuation orders and road closures have been lifted. That fire burned 7 acres, 1 home. Investigators say they believe it was likely started by accident. Now, Boulder County is not taking any chances at this point. They put in new, stricter fire restrictions today, stage 2 restrictions. Those ban pretty much any fire starting activities. No open fires, no campfires, fireworks, explosives, no smoking in most outdoor spaces, and no driving motorized vehicles off established roads or trails. Our Marshall Zellinger is along after talking with some concerned Coloradans who are wondering and worried about why their counties have not put in fire restrictions, considering how hot and dry our state is right now. Marshall?
Kyle, it turns out that looking at the haze in the sky, or simply knowing that 3 other counties have fires burning right now, that's not enough to enact fire restrictions. But even when there are fire restrictions, it turns out certain fires are allowed in certain circumstances. The view of the metro area from Genesee, that's stunning. The view of the quarry fire from Genesee, that's scary.
I don't think you'll find many residents in this whole area that's having an open fire.
Except at Twisted Pine, just down the street from where Steve Jacobson lives in Genesee. There was an open fire last night.
This property is known as the Girl Scout Camp. I'm here to say that they're a fantastic neighbor.
Even though Jefferson County is under Stage 1 fire restrictions, a Girl Scout troop staying at this camping lodge had a legal campfire inside a campfire ring that they did put out.
Any type of an ember scares all of the Front Range foothill residents and anybody backing to open space, because we've all experienced what a disaster that can be.
If it's within regulations, I'm okay with it.
Stacy Martin is working with the Jefferson County Incident Management Team at the quarry fire. She explained that Stage 1 fire restrictions limit fires in the foothills, but keep the rules relaxed in suburban areas.
Think about Jefferson County. It's a rather large county, and if applying it to, say, downtown Ken Carroll, does that make sense as, say, Evergreen? Probably not.
I consider this paradise.
In Grand County, the fire danger went from high to very high today, yet there are no fire restrictions. Why not?
The matrix that our state and federal partners use dictated that we did not need to go into fire restrictions just yet.
The matrix, described by Emergency Management Director Alexis Kimbrough, takes into account things like how dry the grasses and pine needles have become, and the weather outlook. That matrix is reviewed each weekend, discussed by several agencies on Mondays, and presented to county commissioners on Tuesdays. And that's how Grand County will determine fire restrictions, regardless of the current fires burning in Larimer, Boulder, and Jefferson counties.
Our process has been used for years, tested, and we're confident in it.
The government can't tell us all what to do and what not to do. I think we all need to use our common sense on when to do that.
It sounds like Jefferson County did some of that common sense thinking by going past the science and enacting the Stage 1 restrictions, even though the matrix doesn't necessarily call for it. As for the Girl Scout camp, I heard from the Girl Scouts today, they're implementing their own ban. No more campfires at that site. If they do anything, it'll be around colored paper or flowers. Kyle.
Yeah, you know, I tend to think like there are things that government can do, and then at the end of the day, it just comes down to personal responsibility for a lot of Coloradans. And not to say that everybody taking responsibility won't stop accidents from happening, but if people can just say, avoid stupidity for a little while, that'd be swell.
Yeah, just because the government says to do something doesn't mean people will do it, and just because they don't say don't do it doesn't mean you just shouldn't do it anyway.
All right, Marshall Zallinger, thanks for your reporting tonight. When Next returns here in Jefferson County, I want to give you an up-close and detailed look at the aircraft that have kept the quarry fire at bay. And at the trial of an elections clerk turned conspiracy theorist, she says that letting her fellow election deniers see inside her voting system wasn't a felony, it was her job. That's next. Back here at the quarry fire in Jefferson County, that's a live picture of one of three so-called super scooper planes that have been working together to put a massive amount of water on this fire over the last couple of hours. The on-the-ground firefighters have doubled today from 75 to 155, but it's been that aerial firefight that has really slowed down this fire to give the hand crews a chance. Colorado's long-delayed $26 million Firehawk is here, and taxpayers are finally getting their money's worth. The converted military Black Hawk, owned by the state, has a 1,000-gallon water tank. Now, with just a third of the water capacity, but quick and nimble, this Bell 205 is able to drop its snorkel into the small Man Reservoir. It's very close to the quarry fire, and it can run its 300-gallon drops in quick succession. This Sikorsky S-64 air crane is a beast, a 2,650-gallon tank that can fill in just 45 seconds from water as shallow as 18 inches deep. It's also able to work out of the small reservoir very close to the fire. Watch it unload a massive water drop on a smoldering ridgeline just above the Deer Creek Mesa neighborhood. We're also watching three Super Scooper planes at work. They're an amphibious plane that skims along Chatfield Reservoir to refill. 1,400-gallon tank on the smaller ones, 1,600 plus on the larger model. We've seen them work deeper into the interior of the fire, usually in pairs. And high above it all circles a Cessna out of Colorado Springs, coordinating this aerial dance that's kept the quarry fire from spreading into neighborhoods. Everything out here right now, and in so much of Colorado, is just so dry. I mean, it's just absolute straw on the ground everywhere out here, and up in the foothills, all kinds of just, needles and brush that have really dried out in the summertime heat. When you look at drought conditions, you got all of Boulder County that's under a moderate to severe drought right now, the light and dark orange you see on the map. Most of Larimer County, where the Alexander Mountain fire is burning, they're in similar conditions. Because frankly, the Northern Front Range has had it pretty bad this spring and summer. Boulder and Fort Collins both saw their driest May since the 70s. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson, you hear folks out here in town watching these fires over the last couple of days. Everybody talks about rain like they're farmers, right? They're not. I know where they live. They live in very nice houses right over here. They're not farmers, but man, they're talking like it.
Yeah, well, that rain is hard to come by, and it's been that way all summer long. As we take a look at our live radar right now, we do have some showers and storms across the southeastern corner of the state. That's doing us no good with these 4 active wildfires along the Front Range. Now, we're going to continue to monitor those and the impact that that's going to have on our weather, but our weather has an impact on those fires as well. Right now, we're seeing those temperatures in the middle to upper 90s, very hot weather, not helping that fire mitigation. Same goes for very dry atmosphere, anywhere from 10 to 20%, very dry out there. The one thing that has been helping us out a bit over the last few days has been our relatively calm winds, gusting under 20 miles per hour the last few days. So that's really been helping that fire not spread as quickly as it could otherwise. But here's another look at that updated drought monitor that was released today. You'll notice areas where 3 of those 4 wildfires have been upgraded to severe drought. So we want to watch for these extremely dry conditions on the ground and in the air. We have air quality alerts in effect through tomorrow afternoon for increased levels of ozone and wildfire smoke. And as we go through the rest of the evening, we're just going to watch for those stronger storms to stay to the southeast. Again, not doing us much good over those areas that are burning. Tomorrow, we're going to see some storms across the eastern plains. As we go through the next several days, we continue to stay hot and dry. We're not expecting any widespread showers and storms until next week.
To the far right, Tina Peters is a martyr. Prosecutors say she's no hero. She's a criminal who tampered with voting equipment in an unsuccessful search for election rigging. This week, she's on trial. That's next. One of Colorado's most prominent election deniers is on trial for tampering with a voting system this week. Former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters faces 7 felony counts and the potential for real jail time. The former Republican clerk admits to sneaking somebody into her office's voting system while they unsuccessfully searched for evidence of election rigging. Peters' attorneys argue that she was just doing her job, preventing voter information from being erased before the voting system was upgraded. Today in court, prosecutors played a taped interview between Peters and an investigator. Peters said the information leaked online included copies of voting machine hard drives and pictures of passwords, which she insists did not put the systems at risk for future security breaches because security features wouldn't allow for virtual access to her machines.
That could be a criminal act, obviously. You know what I mean? Blowing up your passwords for your office on the internet.
They cannot access my machines unless they're physically there and they have both passwords. If somebody compromises my email, I mean, I would change my password. So I don't understand, what the problem is.
Been seen before, and so.
In that same interview, Peters also accused the Secretary of State's office of unfairly targeting her. She's become somewhat of a star and a martyr on the far-right fringe. Her case has been repeatedly delayed while she fires teams full of her lawyers and unsuccessfully tried to have the case thrown out, claiming that she's a victim of political retribution. The aerial firefight has resumed in earnest here over the quarry fire, which I cannot tell you is diminished in terms of visible smoke activity by about 90% from what we saw this time last night. Back with a final word and your feedback next. Feedback from Tom, who writes in unimpressed with the size of the firefighting aircraft. He says, 1,000 gallons, my septic tank holds more. Well then come on, Tom, put some wings or a rotor on your septic tank and get out here and help instead of just complaining from home. Brad says, in your stories about the fires, it is so obvious that you are standing in front of a green screen and dressed as if you're out there. What a farce. All right, Brad, just for you. All right, got to unplug the microphone. Have a good night.